Thought I'd make a little video while I walk back home from Julia's. Apologies if the wind noise comes through on the microphone. It's a bit of a strange day, getting this sort of yellowy dust, Sahara sand in the wind, but it's almost like it was foggy yesterday. But we've got clouds and blue sky again and sunshine. Bom dia. So to the point of this video, and I'd like to refer you to Archaix channel, his recent videos on the breaking of the first seal and about this solar eclipse. Right, try again. I thought that because I'm walking against the wind, it's going to sound awful if it picks up on the microphone. So back to the topic. Now, probably if you've watched this channel for some time, you know I fully agree with what Jason of Archaix shows with the numerology, the isometric markers, the palindromes, the various calendrical systems, the numerology of it all. It's self-evidencing, and what he shows about the eclipse is another prime example. Hold on, we have a car going by. Wow, can you tell it's Mercury retrograde with all these little things that impede progress, like with making videos. So right, back to the topic. So Jason is talking about this eclipse, this solar eclipse on April the 8th, and the significance of that, which remains to be seen, but the evidence that is being pointed to, oh, that wind again, let's persevere. I shield the phone, that might work better. Oh, maybe not. It's a sort of a bit of a meandering road. I know what you're thinking, get on with it. Right, so, oh no, we're going to have dogs barking in the background. Hold on, we'll pause this again and we'll try a little bit later on the lane. And we're back past the barking dogs. Hopefully they stay quiet over there. They've either chainsaws or leaf blowers or something going. Oh, now the wind's going to pick up. These things are set to try us, but on the flip side of that, it might come through on the speaker as sort of gusts of wind, but it's a nice breeze that's taking the edge off the heat, because I'm walking wearing a coat, and after a while it can be, oh, I'm overheating, and it's like I've then got to carry the coat. But the easiest way to carry the coat is to wear it. Hold on, the wind's picking up again. Okay, we'll try again. We'll get back to the topic. So I refer you to those two, the two most recent Archaix videos, and also the one about the first seal. And as I've said on this channel before, there is a pattern that things are played out in the metaphysical and then manifest into the physical. So if we take that isometric marker, that solar eclipse in 2020, and then cast your mind back 19 years prior to that, and what I would say that is, or the picture that I'm seeing emerging is the breaking of the seals, the 7 seals. Now Jason talks about things on a collective level and a personal level, so he sort of pretty much mentions this anyway. But I thought, excuse me, put it in my own language and just extend it back further into the unseen realm. So, you take the pentagon. What's pentagon? That's saying 5. What have we got 5 of? Well, that's senses. And the events in that year, well, connected with that, there's building 7 and the other bit. So I think the world was sort of taken by that through the visual, through the television, with it being broadcast right around the world. And 2020, obviously, in terms of opticians, and from that perspective, almost a deliberate pun there, is all about vision, sight, vision. So what I would say that has happened in that 19-year period, internally, 5 seals have already been broken. Now, what I would suggest is, if you look at the chakra system, the 5th chakra is to do with the throat, it's the throat chakra, therefore it is to do with communication. Just reflect upon social media, how that has gained popularity, how much communication has come about far more easily. So you've got communication, you've got sight. So, oh, that wind again. Hold on, I'll pause this again. I think we'll call this the video of perseverance. So, just to recap again, you've got this whole thing with sight and communication. What is communicated? The theme with anything New Age, anything spiritual, anything obviously esoteric and metaphysical, it's all talking about inward. So I would say, on a collective basis of those that have varying perceptions on questioning things about this reality that now no longer seem to make sense, and obviously looking externally for the answers to that, but it is all in the intuition. I think it was on the last video that I mentioned about that eclipse on the 8th of April this year, this one that's coming, will be a symbolic marker rather than things being actually on that day. But I feel it will be a marker, and I feel many of you will go through some kind of Kundalini rising, the 3rd eye popping, the 6th chakra. So that would be the breaking of the 6th seal. It seems to play out in the metaphysical, and then takes 19 or 20 years to manifest collectively into this external reality. So everybody sees and experiences something. Depending on where you've felt guided to look, where you've sought answers, will determine your level of perception. I think that wind's picked up again, hold on. Yeah, so another aspect on a personal level over the last, I don't know, maybe a week, I'm starting to notice number patterns of 46 and 64, and you know what it's like when you just keep getting these same numbers. But I don't start investigating what does it mean. Rather, I let the answer come, and I turn this inwardly to find the answer to that. And to me it feels like it's a further confirmation of what I've just explained about the first seal to the sixth seal, and how it changes from a metaphysical inward experience to an outward collective experience. So 4 of the 46 or the 64, well, it's to do with the heart, the 4th chakra. The theme of this whole thing with this spiritual evolution of humanity is being in balance, being in the middle. So the number 6, where does that come in? Well, that again it's the mind's eye, the 6th chakra. Let's turn around, because I feel that might help deaden the wind, and we've got more barking dogs ahead. But they're just doing the job, they're just guarding. It's a stranger walking through, but as far as they're concerned. So what I feel that is showing is it's going from, or the connection between the heart and the mind's eye. Let's turn this better so I can almost hear in the word 4 and 6 becomes see. Seek sounds very similar to 6 anyway. Forget about the spell of the spelling. It's go with the sound. What sounds right to you? And I can only go by feeling. I don't know what 46 or 64 would mean if I did a Google search on the spiritual meaning of those numbers, or what is angel number 46, for example. So I'm just giving a personal interpretation, and again it's the timing. Why is it that I started seeing those numbers? What was that message? And I feel that is exactly what the message, and it's a message I feel needs to be communicated, because it's not just for myself. So what I'm really saying is, be prepared that you are probably going to feel things internally, some quite dramatic changes that may feel very odd, very strange, because it's stepping into the unknown, the popping of the third eye, as it were, the Kundalini rising. They're just labels for the same thing. Hopefully you'll get the experience of just this feeling of bliss and elation, and feeling like you're just floating slightly above the ground, and that lovely contented feeling. But of course, because it's something new, and obviously the conscious mind will start to try and problem solve, try and figure out what it is, try and rationalize it, make sense of it. So flipping back to what Jason has shown, and also that event with the Pentagon, and how that connects to the number 5. There's also the number 7 with a particular building as well. 7 chakras, because you notice, and that was clearly shown, that there seemed to be nothing apparent flown into that building or whatever, but it just collapsed. I mean, in an apocalypse, if you listen carefully, again to the sound, forget the spelling, an apocalypse, that's a negative perception. The positive perception is an epoch collapse. All it means, it's like the end of an age, the end of a chapter, the start of a new one, the start of a new story. This is spiritual evolution. Again, the number 4, if I use a Rudolf Steiner analogy, talking about the 4 bodies of humanity, that being your physical body, your etheric body, your astral body, and your I organization, or your ego in some of these earlier lectures. But they're all descriptors, so again, you've got your 4 being shown with that. And as I've shown, or hopefully adequately shown in the last video, where I spoke about the number sequence of adjacent numbers, so 5 senses going into 6 senses, the 4 bodies taking on probably a crystalline body would be a good way to describe it. How it will actually manifest and be seen in this reality, that again may come down to what you perceive with the mind's eye and what you feel rather than what you physically see with the eyes. So with everything in this reality, people see things in different ways, and it's a well-known one with witnesses to some sort of event, depending on their viewpoint, will determine the perception of what they feel they have seen and what they relay, which may be different from somebody else. It's again the same as that fruit bowl analogy, different perspectives of the same fruit bowl. So I would be nothing to be fearful of, but I would be prepared that to go through a spiritual evolution internally that you're going to feel, and it may feel a little strange at first, but know that you're not going to be the only one that's going through it. And it will vary, I feel, from varying degrees depending on whether you are more outwardly perceptive or inwardly perceptive, shall we say. I can't make judgment on what's right or wrong, because certainly from the outward you can get a certain amount, but after all it is intuition. It's all about go within and sow without. Think about sow, like sowing seeds. So you're creating within and creating outward, and that is also being reflected in the external, in the events that are unfolding and have been unfolding for what, the last 23 years, shall we say, at least. But obviously it's a much part of it's a chapter in a much longer story, so I hope that hasn't given you any apprehension or anxiety about what may or may not happen. This is just speculation on my part and giving you a perspective on what I feel, but I don't feel anything bad, anything negative about it whatsoever. Quite the opposite. And we're in this strange time of Mercury retrograde, the solar eclipse, the eclipse season, and we've just had the equinox. So for those 4 astral events to all come around at the same time, usually is an indicator that there'll be something that maybe on a big scale, maybe on a small scale, but a certain number will certainly feel things and feel changes in themselves. And things are changing rapidly. I'd like to, as much as anything else, put out an appeal asking for help. As you know, and if you follow Julia's channel Simplicity Revealed, you'll know about the basically a brutal attack on Max. It's like somebody's clubbed him over the head, and then things were made worse at the vet. He's got a nasty gash and like a bruise at the back of his head, but he doesn't seem traumatized. He seems a lot happier now. But obviously that comes with a vet's bill, which is mostly paid. But yesterday, something else, a spanner in the works as it were, a new challenge, because that's what happens, just like in a computer game, if you go through a certain level, the next level is going to have a slightly more challenging event or circumstance. And in this case, it's the alternator on the car. I would say it's got a dead spot, and obviously an alternator is a consumable part. They do wear out, it's not a new vehicle. So I'm asking as much as anything else on behalf of Julia Simplicity Revealed channel, because the transport does benefit me greatly. As much as anything else, it saves me an hour and a half walk in carrying heavy shopping, and it's helping others when you can. So this is my way of sort of trying to help with this situation. A reconditioned starter motor would solve that problem. I've no idea of the costs of such things. It looks like it would be a straightforward, easy thing to fit as well. But it's one of those things you don't focus on, worry about what if you can't, what if this, what if that. You do the opposite. The car developed this problem when I had it yesterday. Turn the key and you wait for this red light to go on, turn the key one more notch and then it should fire up. It's done a preheat to the engine. Turn the key, wasn't even turning the engine, and it's like, Houston, we have a problem. And the only way to get it going was bump starting it, which was very kindly, we had assistance for that. This was with myself and Kenneth yesterday. But the way I look at that, I refer back to the Rudolf Steiner, the fact that our journey was delayed may have been like a timeline change, where had we have not had an issue with the vehicle and could have got going straight away, it would have put us in a different spot, further ahead on the journey that we subsequently did about half an hour later. And who knows, we may have been involved in an accident with vehicles. These are the things to look at with these things. Don't see things straight away in that negative default mode of, oh dear. Because it's like, okay, that's not quite what I was hoping for, but it's another little challenge put in the way. But let's stand back from it, let's be the observer and see how things unfold. And just stay with the intention that you already had. Stay true to it, as Neville Woodard says. Right, this has gone on, what are we up to, 23 minutes here. So I'm going to end here, and to reiterate, if you're struggling at the moment with anxiety, depression, or panic attacks, anything like that, then the door's always open here. I've been through the things, and I can help unlock in new ways to get through it. Nothing is impossible. So, I loved you all, and I wish you all a wonderful day, and I hope there's